This is the overall score for the judiciary in each of these countries, and it ranges between 0 to 100, with a score of 100 being the worst score. And it is as a result of putting together the different indicators of the survey. The judiciary in Kenya, as you can see, registered an improvement between 2010 and 2012, but this seems to have reversed in 2013 and sustained in 2014. The land services maintained a near steady score during the review period, except in 2012, where there was a noticeable spike. And if you compare with the land services in the region, the land services in Kenya registered the highest score of the review period in 2012. And you can see how other countries are performing in terms of land. And I think if you look at the 5 East African countries, Rwanda again is perhaps the only country that has made steps in managing its land in a modern way. 9 out of 10 citizens in the region did not report the bribery incidences they experienced to any authority or person. And you can see the figures there. 93% in Kenya on average said they did not report. So meaning that only about 7% average reported their bribery incidences. If the levels of reporting corruption do not go up, then the fight against corruption cannot be, we cannot realize success in the fight against corruption. A large proportion of Kenyans felt that government was not doing enough to fight corruption in Kenya over the years. In 2013, a significant proportion of respondents felt that the government was doing enough to fight corruption. That was in 2012, but that has not been sustained in the subsequent years. The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has been through its own tribulations. You know that it's only this week, I think, that new commissioners are being vetted to take up office. You also know that from 2011 that there was a long transition period lasting about 2 years that cost this institution, this commission, a significant part of its manpower. And that is just being put together again. So our call is that we should ensure that the EACC has enough operational and institutional independence to deliver on the anti-corruption mandate. Additionally, oversight institutions like the Office of the Auditor General need to be strengthened to properly execute their mandate. We have a devolved system of government. The opportunities for bribery and corruption have increased with the very many structures that have been put in place. We need to pay attention to ensure that we minimize these opportunities for bribery and corruption in all the counties. The fight against corruption in this country will reach an irreversible stage when we can say without any doubt that those who have broken the law, those who have engaged in corruption, will be prosecuted successfully, that they will be jailed, and what they have stolen will be recovered. I think we are far off from that. We are watching very closely as an organization what is happening in the justice delivery chain for corruption cases. The focus now being on the judiciary. And we have been making this call that the judiciary needs to review its protocols, and where Parliament can do can step in by way of putting together laws or new guidance on how these cases are going to be heard. That would be most welcome. What we know is the public has lost money, and there's someone who is responsible for that loss, and that person should be punished. So if that person is not found through the legal process, then it can only undermine the confidence of Kenyans in the fight against corruption. Over the last 5 years, interviewed a total of 53,784 respondents, looking at different indicators like likelihood of bribery, the prevalence of bribery, average size of bribe, the impact of bribe, and the share of national bribe. For this trends analysis, we identified just a few sectors, 5 of them, based on their importance in the East African integration exercise and also the development of our respective countries. These are the police, the judiciary, the registry and licensing services, land services, and tax services. We've traced the patterns of bribery that have emerged across the 5-year period in the 5 sectors mentioned. These institutions have consistently been ranked as among the most bribery-prone institutions by the East African Bribery Index since 2010.